Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Um, I didn't even want to do the intro or the niceties or the glitz and glam and all of that stuff. I didn't want to go through any of that. And the reason is because I just want to share some thoughts here. I have been away from posting videos or even doing lives for the last week or a few days, I would say, because we were set to have a session on Sunday, and I rescheduled Sunday, postponed Sunday rather, because of the Super Bowl, and then we were to reconvene on Tuesday, but I was in a brother of mine reached out to me maybe 2 hours before our scheduled start time, and they needed they needed a moment, they needed an ear, they needed time, they needed a person to hear them, see them, feel them, understand them, and then help them. And because they were down about themselves, they were down about life, they were down about their value, their purpose, they were down about everything regarding them. And even to the point of saying, I feel like my life is meaningless. I feel like it's a waste of time. I feel like they were saying things like that. And I don't know about you all. I know there are some people that, they swear by their name and title and, who they are image wise and stuff like that. And they won't allow people the time. I am, um, career wise, I am a certified coach on several different avenues, and I am a therapist. I am a psychologist. And when someone reaches out to me and they are having that type of dialogue with self, internally and externally, then I have a duty to forego any and everything scheduled to give my undivided attention to that spirit, that soul, that person, and to cause them to understand their value, their purpose, things of that nature. It's and alive, and I mean I love you all too, but that live and that book and everything, all of that can wait when someone's actual life is on the line, and all of those things. So, and they were behind the wheel, and they were very, emotional, very overwhelmed emotionally, and yeah, I had a responsibility at that moment. Like I say all the time, I'm not for everybody, I'm for somebody. And thankfully, Spirit was able to give me the exact words to say to this brother, and immediately they turned around and they had a different outlook on life. I even had to pull up their natal chart and read to them what their blueprint is, so that they can understand that they are purposed to live a long life, and a life that is meaningful to the world. Let me tell you how valuable you are to this life and to this planet, to the human beings that are here, to the ones that are destined to cross you and you to cross them. Um, I posted the other day about how when people encounter you, whether you know them or not, when they encounter you, they are having a visitation from God. And when you encounter them, that you are having a visitation from God. So if we really, really understood the divinity in that, the power in that, um, we will move a little differently with ourselves and with everybody else and everything else, because life is life regardless, life is life regardless. Um, but every day, all day, I sit in listening mode. I always say that I'm always a student, no matter how much of a teacher I am. I'm always a student, and I'm always hearing, I'm always learning, I'm always watching. I'm always listening to everybody, no matter what my quote unquote status is. Everybody has a message. There's a lesson and wisdom on everybody's tongue. Whether it looks, conventional or not, whether it looks, how we expect it to look or not, we have to always keep our eyes and ears open to hear and to see wisdom in all forms, because everything is purposeful. Everything is. And so, but I'm watching this, and I'm going throughout the day, as we all are, and I'm hearing people's conversation, and I'm seeing, even on social media, especially on social media, on television and in movies and in music, even from the pulpit, even from in some doctrines and religions and faiths and stuff like that, there's so much judgment. There's so much judgment, my goodness. So much judgment, which is a direct reflection of how not only we see ourselves, but really what we're trying to deflect from. Because the only reason that we will pinpoint and highlight somebody else's stuff, whatever we deem a flaw, because notice I said whatever we deem a flaw on them, okay? Then it's always, 9 times out of 10, it's always to obstruct from the vision of you and your own quote unquote flaws. Because if you judged yourself like you judged everybody else, then you would definitely be working on self more. That's for sure. But I hear this a lot about where people say, God gonna judge you, or you gonna face the judgment of God and the wrath of God and this and then the third. What's crazy about that whole thing is that we have diminished the abilities of God, the attributes of God, the energy, the spirit, the element of God, the all of God, the oneness of God, down to our mere man thinking. And we have made God, source, the Almighty, to have the same low vibrational attributes that we do, to the point where we've rationalized in our own brain that this is actually truth. We teach from that place, we preach from that place, we speak from that place, we act from that place, we behave out of that place, we think from that place, we treat people from that place. And we always want to say, well, God gonna get you, and be, God is always watching, and God. Okay. Understand that when we understood here in the human plane, in this earthly plane, when we understood what a God was, or our very first reference of God, or being taught about God, it was always taught from a sense of punishment and wrath. Okay, love and blessings if you do this, but wrath and damnation and hell and brimstone and fire and floods and detriment and all of this if you do that. Okay, always from a place of fear, always from a place of trepidation, always from a place of you gonna get it, God gonna get you. Okay. And then in the book that was rewritten and translated 1,000,000,001 times, that also says that it's okay to own slaves and to, keep slaves under your, control and all. Yep, that one. The one that's also very incomplete and has so many doctrines and parts of it missing. Yep, that one. It's funny. I still don't understand how we can teach a complete message from an incomplete doctrine. It baffles my mind. But needless to say, That same book says it says somewhere that it's okay for that those believers, those people who practice that faith, to judge people. I am here to enlighten everybody. The judgment that you are asking or seeking, or asking, wanting, or anticipating God to do, or thinking that God is doing, is not from your low level, low vibrational, humanistic 3D critical selves. It's not from that place. I know, because y'all love to judge somebody. Okay. It's never from that place. When we were created, when we were fashioned, when life was breathed into our spirits, when we were, before here, way before here, well before here, we all knew and acted out of the place of our origins, which is an extension of God. Like, it's God. We are small particles of God. We are God. Okay. Like every other thing is, every other living, breathing thing is, whether it's in human form, animal form, plant form, insect form, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All of us are God. And just like the tiny particles and cells in our body combined makes us, makes the one us. All of those particles are us. Same with God. Same with oneness. Same with I am. Same with, we are all that. We are all that. We're just tiny individual particles and molecules and atoms and components of that. We are all I am. So if that's the case, then wouldn't God see us in the way that we were originally created and formed and fashioned to be? God, this is how crazy this place is as far as the criticism or the judgment and the diminishing of, because even here it's debated that God is he. That is so limiting. That is so box worthy. God is he. Again, the same people that took and took the passages of other multiple cultures and combined it into one book, stole many stories from many times and combined it into one book and called it something and forced it to be the new teaching, and we gravitated towards it, and they forced it to justify, controlling people and things like that, and for some reason we're still okay. But that same God, that same oneness, not just he, but all, because not from, of I am, we are. And if of I am, we are, then how are we both male and female? How are we both masculine and feminine? Polarities, everybody. How are we conceived, and in our conception, in our being developed in our mother's womb, we go from X to Y. Okay, from female to male in the male cases, and then some remain X. So how is that? How is God the I am, who we are of, not from, but of, because from is saying that you came out of and now you're separate from it. No, we are of God. So we are one with, which means we're the same as, which means we are. How is it? How is it that we are of God, source, almighty, infinite, intelligent being, or existence, not even just a being, because being is minimizing, but existence. And think that God will judge us on a negative note. That would be like judging itself on a negative note. And because negativity don't reside with God, negativity is something from this low level plane, not from the 5D plane, which is where all exists, above and beyond, this level thinking. There is no negative criticism. No, God is going to, when God judges itself, i.e. you, God is going to judge you from a place of your completion, from a place of your wholeness, of your perfection, not from a negative place. That's us. We do that. We do that. Down here, we do that, which was why when we were birthed into physical form, we dropped. It's almost like a demotion, because we came from that realm of perfection, of completion, of nothing missing, nothing negative. It's all necessary, all complete, all, good, all itself, all the way down to the 3D realm, this planet realm, this earthly realm, and went straight to ground zero. When we came out of our mother's womb, we knew nothing of. We went to zero, beginning day one. And over the course of our lives, we are to remember. We are to remember. And which is why natal charts are necessary, which is why your date of birth is necessary, which is why your year of birth is necessary, which is why your time of birth is necessary, because those are coordinates. Those are coordinates. Because wherever all other existence, which also are elements of God, all other coordinates, all other existence, it's necessary to know, it is important to know where everything was placed at the very moment you were birthed. Why? Because those elements matter to your existence and your reason for being here. That's why birth natal chart readings are necessary. Because when you're born, you are a complete stranger to your parents. Your parents are a complete stranger to you. Complete stranger. And it is you all's job to get to know one another. You get to know this level, this realm through them. And then they get to know your level, your realm, your existence, your purpose, your gift or whatever, and cultivate you in that manner, from that manner. But instead, because we don't utilize the tools that are here, that are given, so to make this journey a whole lot better, a whole lot easier, we don't find out what your blueprint is. The birth of the blueprint of the baby. We just create one for you and develop you the way that we were developed, or the way that we want to develop you, versus how you need to be developed. If we're going to go off the story of Christ here, Christ was born, as we all know. Christ was raised by Mary and Joseph. We all know. But we also know that it took 33 years for Christ to connect and align with his whole self, with who he is of, to get the downloads and the message to be cultivated for 33 years. So that once he completely aligned and fully remembered who he truly was, then and only then could he embark on the mission and complete it. He had to remember, he had to become fully aware of who he truly was before taking on this human form. He had to stand in it. He had to align with it in order to fully be equipped to take on the task of this life. And then once he completed that, he was done. He was done. There was no need to stick around. I am complete. I am finished. And from that, even before then, I'm going back home, But what I did, you'll do also even greater, because, you're the same as me. We are all of source, of God, of the creator. We all have the ability to do the same thing that Christ did. So there's no worshiping Christ. There is one with Christ. We are all of God. That's what it is. I love the late, great Dr. Miles Monroe. I had the pleasure of singing at his place of worship in Nassau, Bahamas, and many years ago. And that man, he taught about purpose. That was his mission. That was his message. Purpose, aligning with purpose, the pursuit of purpose, understanding purpose. That was his message. He also, because a lot of ministers didn't really care for him because he didn't teach traditional religion. He taught purpose. He taught alignment. He taught connection. He taught remembering. That's what he taught. Remembering. And it was one particular message that he taught where he was saying, he says, one of the biggest mistakes that the church makes is telling people to worship Jesus. Jesus was a vessel. Jesus was a messenger. Jesus was not the one to be worshiped. He says, never, ever, ever in any of the doctrine did Jesus ever say, bow down to me, worship me, not at all. He said, one who sent me, the one who sent me. But for some reason, we get stuck at the man Jesus. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. But if one would sit and have this conversation with, theologians and those who've been in quote unquote ministry and all of these, even no matter what faith you're coming from, for all of their lives, and they will debate this. That is what is called cognitive dissonance. Meaning there's truth to be taught here and learned here, but because of conditioning, you're going to hold on to the condition, which is the untruth, just to not and avoid the truth, because it goes against what you've known all your life. But perhaps is it possible that what we've been taught is incomplete or incorrect? Is it possible? It's very much possible, which is why you got to study to show yourself approved and not follow people, because people gonna give you their own conditionings as well. People are going to give you their opinions, their judgments, their conditionings. They're not going to fully give you truth, especially when they don't fully know truth. That is what even the Bible calls the blind leading the blind. And where does both wind up? In the ditch. It is reckless to talk from a place of one understanding. It is reckless. It is irresponsible. It is so irresponsible, because there are many people following and listening and doing what they're being told to do. It is wisdom to see and understand all understandings. And when you do that, when I say all understandings, I mean from all cultures. Because there are there's a reason that some cultures are not practicing the same way that you practice, or worshiping the same way that you worship, or teaching from the same place that you're teaching, because they don't have access to that, or that's not their culture. But look at what they are being taught before you judge. Get into what they are being taught, like fully give yourself time and space to understand and learn other cultures and what they teach. And you will be surprised to know that everybody is saying the same thing, just in different ways. The way that they're saying it is culturally based, so that their culture can receive it just like your culture receives what you've been taught. But because we're such a divisive, such a judgmental plane, realm, planet, universe, it's difficult to bring yourself to understand that of another culture or that of another message when it's not saying the same thing that you want it to say, or when it goes against your conditioning that you've been conditioned in all of your life. Is it possible that what you've been taught is either incomplete or is incorrect? Is it possible? It's very possible. It's very possible. What we really need to get to the place of knowing and doing is, number one, having more grace, having more understanding, having more love and kindness and compassion, like that of who we are of. Because when God, oneness, the all, I am, infinite intelligence, sees us, considers us, judges us, it judges from a place of completion, from a place of itself, never from a place of negativity and hurt and pain and damnation and busting hell wide open and you gonna get it and fear and all of that. Never. That's ego. That's humanistic thinking. But the more we understand that we are spirits having a human experience, and the more we remember who we are for real, we will walk, talk, see, hear, do from that place, feel from that place. We will also treat others from that place. Why? Because if I am of the I am, and I am an extension, a mirror, and a particle of the I am, then that means that when I address you and when I consider you, And when I'm speaking to you, and when I see you, and when I'm walking with you, talking with you, then I am seeing, hearing, communing, walking, talking with another part of I am. And I am to give you that same quote unquote judgment, i.e., love, that I give the I am. How is it that we can lift our hands and we can love and show adoration for the I am, but we can't do that same for our neighbor, our brothers, our sisters, our mothers and fathers, our sons and daughters, our cousins and nieces and nephews and aunts and aunties and grandparents? We can't do that to the baggage claim a person at the store, the cashier, the driver next to us in the car, the whatever. We can't do that. That's what it means to judge. That's what it means for God to judge. God judges from a place of himself, itself, herself. Because we are particles of God. We are God. Therefore, if God is all perfect, then when God judges from a place of us being all perfect, not from a place of negativity and hate and fear. And you're wrong, you just wrong, and you need to be punished, and this and then the third. That's man-made thinking. That is this level thinking. I urge us all to continually elevate ourselves and align with ourselves and remember who we are, who we truly are, and derobe from this place that has so infected us instead of us influencing it. I really, really, really urge us all to elevate ourselves, because here we judge each other based off of race. When you the only reason that you are the race that you are is not because you are the golden child and you are this and you are that. You had to be the race that you are in order to complete the purpose that you have on your life. If you're Black right now and you would have been born white, then you would not have reached, would have not been able to reach, because we know, God knows exactly what this place was going to do and going to be. And had you been somebody white, then the people that you have influenced or you have, encouraged or you have motivated probably would not have received you if you were not Black, and vice versa. Your race is solely because of the purpose that's on your life. In your past life, you might have been somebody white. In your past life, you might have been the opposite gender. Who knows? Which is why we are all. In us, we are all. Who knows? But here, we judge based on the race, based on gender, based on hair textures, based on body types, based on lifestyle choices, based on love interests, based on jobs, based on wallets. We judge based on living conditions and geographical locations. We judge based on everything, the kind of car you drive, all superficial 3D planet, low vibrational agendas. Never from a place of God. Never from a place of being a particle of God. Never from a place of being a mirrored image of God. Never from that place. Only God can judge me. I hope so. Because when God judges based on the love and the perfection that you are. God judges you based on what you were crafted to be. So I pray that that's what God does, because y'all's judgment, I'm good on that. We don't need that. We don't need any more of that. And unfortunately, that is the reason why this place is going the way that it's going, because this place's judgment of itself and of each other is absolutely sickening. It's disgusting. Because where's the love? Where is the judgment of God in this place? Where is that? Because God's judgment, God sees you perfect, exactly how you were formed. God sees you as God sees itself, perfect. So where is the judgment of God in this place? What we see is human judgment. Even when we say God gonna judge you, that's from a human mindset. That is from an unlearned mindset. That is from a mindset of someone who knows not who they are. They're speaking from who they were made to be, which is judgment. When we understand, when we truly understand, and I hope you all hear this, anybody, regardless of who it is, whether you hear it now or 10 years from now, I hope you hear this. And I hope you really, truly, fully align yourself with who you are, so that you can really and truly be able to see not only yourself, but everything and everybody else, and see God in it, because it is God. It is God. Air is God. Tree is God. The blades of grass is God. Flowers is God. Everything is living. Animals are God. You are God. The elements of you are God. The things that you do, the things that you are gifted in, those are God. Everything is God. So to ask God to judge itself, wonderful. Because God will judge itself based upon its completion and its perfection, not based upon this humanistic, fear-mongering, damnation place. We do that. And then we have the audacity to bring the wholeness of God and the things of God and the perfection of God down to this fractured mindset. This mind only holds what's from this life. That's it. That's all. And if this mind is only filled with things that is of somebody else, and what we were forced to learn and know and believe, then what? Because that's what it's been since the day we got here. We were forced to be this, do this, go over here, think like this, dress like that, talk like this, walk like that, learn like this, sit like this, eat like this, go over here, jump up and down, slide to the left, slide to the right. Practice like this, worship like this, sit like this, dress like this, talk like this, walk like this, read like this, spell like this. Never once were we given the chance to actually go within and learn who we already are. Remember who we already are. Not pick up what somebody wants us to be. Yeah. I can go on. I can. But that's enough. We're going to continue our reading of The Mountain Is You on Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on all platforms, wherever you're listening from. We will talk to you then.